Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to learn about HTML unordered lists. Okay, HTML unordered lists. So one of the most commonly used elements in web development. End of this video you will know exactly how to create unordered lists, customize them and use them effectively in your web pages. So let's get started. So first, let's understand what exactly is an unordered list. An unordered list is a collection of items that do not follow any numerical order. Instead of numbers like 1, 2, 3, the items are marked with the bullet points. Okay, bullet points. So by default, in HTML, we create an unordered list using the UL tag. Okay, so we use the UL tag. The UL stands for unordered list. Okay, it stands for unordered list. So now let's look at the basic syntax. So let me show you how you can write an unordered list in HTML. Okay, so you need UL tag, then you need the list item tag, and you're going to write here for example coffee. Then you are going to write here for example tea, and then you are going to write here for example if you are going to write here like milk. Okay, so let me open up a preview tab so you can observe the code in the preview tab how it looks like. Okay, so here as you can see, let me break this down. UL tag is the opening tag. It tells the browser, hey, I am starting an unordered list here. Okay, so inside UL tag is the we use the li tags. The li stands for list item, as we have told you earlier. So each li represents one bullet point in the list. Finally, we close the list with the as you can see, with the ul closing tag. So in this example, the output on the browser will show three bullet points, as you can see in the preview tab too: coffee, tea and milk. Okay, so when you open this in a browser, you will see something like this, as you are looking at in the preview tab right now. So each item has a filled black circle as a bullet point. So this is the default style that browsers apply to unordered lists, okay, by default. Now let's talk a little more about the li tag. So li tag defines each individual item inside the list. You can have as many li elements as you want inside a ul. Okay, so there is absolutely no limit to the number of list items you can add. So for example, let me show you. Write here the ul and you can write html. Okay, you can also add css. You can also add, for example, let me show you javascript, and you can also add, for example, python. Then you can also add php. Okay, so there is no limit. Okay, this will display 5 bullet points on the screen, one for each programming language. Okay, now here is where it gets really interesting. You don't always have to use the default black circle bullet. Okay, you can change the bullet style using the css property called list style type. It's a property. Okay, so for example, if you use here, like by using the style attribute, and you set your list style type property, and if you set it to disk, okay, so it will show the default filled circle. And but if you set it to, for example, if you want to set it to circle, okay, then you can see a hollow empty circle. And if you set this property to square, then you can see a filled square. Understand? So if you want if you want to remove the bullet points completely, then you set it to none. Okay, this property, if you set it to none, it will remove the bullet points completely. So the last one, none, is extremely useful when you are building navigation menus in websites because you want a list of links without any bullet symbols. Okay, now let's talk about something very powerful, and that is nested lists. A nested list means a list inside another list. You can place a UL inside an li element to create a sublist. Okay, so let me show you how you can do this. So first of all, you need UL tag, then you need, for example, li, and if you are going to write here fruits, okay, so what you need UL tag again here, and you are going to write here, for example, list item tag, and if you want to write here apple, then you want to write here, for example, banana, then you write here mango. Okay, so what you need, for example, you are going to summon, I mean li tag, and you are going to write here, for example, vegetables. Then what you need to start the ul tag and li inside. So for example, I'm going to write here carrot, then I need here, for example, okay. So in the browser, this shows fruit and vegetables as the main bullet points, and under each one there is a sublist with their own bullet points. But notice that the inner bullet points automatically change style. Okay, the outer list uses a disk and the inner list uses a circle by default, as you can see. The browser does this automatically to help visually separate the labels. Okay, let's now look at how to style our unordered list more professionally using CSS. So let me show you how you can do this. So first of all, we need doc type HTML a document and HTML tag. So we need the head tag, and inside the head tag we need the style tag. So in this we are going to cover first of all the UL, and I'm going to set the background color. Okay, so background color I'm going to set it to F0 F0 F0. Okay, and I'm gonna use the padding property, and I'm going to set it to 20 px. Okay, now I'm gonna use the list style type attribute, sorry, the property, and I'm gonna set it to square. Understand? Now what I'm gonna cover, I'm gonna cover ul and li. Okay, so I'm gonna set the color and set it to dark blue. Okay, and I'm gonna use the font size property, and I'm going to set it to 18 px. So I'm gonna set the margin to, and the margin would be 10 px and 0. Okay, so here we have added the style. Then we need to open up the body tag, and inside the body tag we are going to start the ul, I mean the unordered list, and inside we need li, I mean the list item. I'm going to write here, for example, web design, and again I'm going to set, for example, web development, and again I need, for example, database management. As you can see, so here is what each CSS rule does. Okay, so as you can see here, background color gives the list a light gray background, as you can see in the preview tab. So padding adds space inside the list so the items don't look cramped. Okay, then we use list style type, I mean property, and we set it to square, changes bullets to square, as you can see. Then we use the color, so color we set it to dark blue, makes the text dark blue, and we also use the font size, and we set it to 18 px, makes the text slightly bigger and easier to read. Then we use the margin property, and we set it to 10 px and 0. It adds space between each list item vertically. Okay, so now let me show you one of the most real world uses of an unordered list, creating a horizontal navigation menu. Understand? So how we can create it? Let me show you the code. Okay, so first of all we need the HTML document, then we are going to start the HTML tag, then we need the head tag, and inside the head tag we need the style tag. So first of all we are going to cover ul unordered list, and we are going to use here list style type property, and we are going to set it to none. Okay, So I'm going to use the margin property and I'm going to set it to 0. Then I'm going to use the padding property. I'm going to set it to 0 2. Okay. Then I'm going to use the overflow property and I'm going to set it to hidden. Understand? Then I'm going to use the background color property and I'm going to set it to hash 3 3 and 3. Okay. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna use the list item property and I'm gonna use the float property and I'm gonna set it to left. And so what I need next, I need to add here the link. Okay, so lia and I'm gonna set it to, for example, I'm gonna use the display property and I'm gonna set it to block. Understand? And the color would be, for example, the color would be white and I'm gonna set the padding to for this. The padding would be 14 px and 20 px. Okay, now what I need, I'm gonna set the text decoration and I'm gonna set it to none. Understand? Now I need to add some hover effect. Okay, so let me add the hover effect. So I'm gonna set the background color for the hover. So the background color would be hash triple one. Okay, now let me start the body tag to show the real effect, and inside the body tag I need to start the unordered list, and in order on unordered list I need to start here list item a href. Okay, so I'm gonna use the hash as a link and I'm gonna close this link and I'm gonna write here home. Okay, so now I need to start another list item, and inside this I need to start right here href hash. Now I need to write, for example, about. Okay, and again I need to write here, and I'm gonna write here href. Okay, so let me write here uh, hash and close this link, and I'm gonna write here services. Okay, and again I'm gonna start the li tag and a href, and I'm gonna write here hash as a link, and I'm gonna write here, for example, okay. So let me explain what's happening here. So we remove the bullet points with the list style type. Okay, in this list style type we set it to none. We remove the bullet points. We remove default spacing. Okay, with margin we set it to 0, and with the padding we set it to 0 2. We use the float. Okay, here we use the float and we set it to left on the li to make list items appear side by side instead of one below the other. Okay, so you use the float to set the to make the list items appear side by side. Then we style the links as block level. Okay, we set the display to the block level so the entire box is clickable. We add a hover effect, so when the user moves their mouse over a menu item, as you can see, becomes darker. This is how almost every website navigation bar is built using an unordered list. Alright, let's do a quick summary of everything we covered today. The UL tag we covered, that creates an unordered list with the bullet points. Each item inside the list is wrapped in the li tags. The default bullet style is a filled circle, and you can change the bullet style using list style type property in CSS. Values including disk, circle, square, and none. And that's everything you need to know about HTML unordered lists. These are super simple but incredibly powerful once you start building real web pages and navigation bars. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next HTML tutorial. We will be covering ordered lists in the next video, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.